أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه وله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, we continue with the etiquettes of seeking knowledge. We are with chapter 2. After we finish chapter 1, which is the etiquettes of the student of knowledge or the seeker of knowledge within him or herself. It's very important, and I want you to consider it as like a manual for you. And I would even suggest it as an assignment for each one of you to memorize those. Can you memorize those 13 or 14 points? I want you to memorize them and make them like a daily repetition. Memorize them in Arabic or in English. Can we do that, inshallah? I just want to hear it from you. We're going to do that, all right? Doesn't matter how long it takes you, but memorize them. Like ikhlas, this, and go number 1, number 2, number 3, like that, and memorize them. Like avoid commotion, adorn yourself for gentleness, contemplation, firmness, and confirmation. These things. I want you to memorize them and repeat them, because once you do that, they become part of your personality. It's very important. Okay, so that's an assignment for you now, and I want you to take note of that. So when we do something, I'm emphasizing on it because this chapter 1 is the core of this whole issue. So once you yourself have that as internally reflected on and part of your personality, then everything else will be understood, will come natural. When I tell you etiquettes with your Sheikh or etiquettes with the books, then it's a fruit of what you have internally. But if you don't have down what you should internally feel, then it becomes artificial. And that's counterproductive. Yes, ma'am?
Can we have it in Arabic?
Memorize it in Arabic?
Yeah, can we
You want to have it in Arabic? Oh, yes. I can forward it to you in Arabic. Right? I can forward you the PDF in Arabic, and you will find in bold all of those points. You can have one and put English. Can you do that? Yeah. Put one in Arabic and put in front of it in English, or one in Arabic and under it in English. So you want to memorize it in Arabic, that would be great, actually. And someone can help with doing the transliteration. Write it in English letters with Arabic, so this way it becomes easier for you also to say it. I think that's a wonderful suggestion. Can we do that, inshallah? I'll forward the Arabic, and you can each point you have it. Because memorizing it in Arabic, it will actually taste different. So now, chapter number 2, كيفية الطلب والتلقي, how you receive and how you seek. How you seek, now you are ready, you have sincerity, you are not showing off, you are adorned with the nobility of knowledge, you know exactly what you should be. Now we're going to start seeking the knowledge, all right? So this chapter is how you seek the knowledge and how you receive it. There are two different things. Seeking the knowledge and receiving the knowledge. Somebody may be very sincere and take all the means to seek the knowledge, but they are not receiving right. The channel is not tuned right. So sometimes you did all your efforts. You came to the masjid, you have your notebook, you have your book, you have everything. But what I'm saying is not getting into you. Maybe I have the issue, maybe you have the issue. So you as a student want to make sure that both are good. How are you going to make sure of what I do? That's how you're being connected with your teacher or with your sheikh. When they are angry, when they are not happy, when they are not ready. Otherwise, you are not going to receive, right? So that's why, if someone, they know their sheikh is in a hurry, and that happens a lot. The sheikh is in a hurry, leaving the masjid, and everybody, quick question, right? That's a bad thing, actually. It's not a good thing. Yeah, so people do that all the time, but it's not a good thing. They're not actually achieving anything. Because, I'm not in the mood to give a good answer. I just want to leave. My head now, I want to leave. So I want to leave, but now there is a question. So I'm struggling now whether I answer the question or I abandon the question, right? You put me in that situation. So you're not going to receive something good, all right? That's why it's very hard. I want to leave, I don't want to answer a question. But you put me in that situation, then you are not. I'm just giving you one example, just giving you an example like that. That's why it is very, very important in our deen, for example. The mufti or the person who gives the teaching or the fatwas, they are not supposed to give fatwa when they are hungry, food, or thirsty, or tired, or angry, or want to go to the bathroom, they're not supposed to answer questions or give fatwa or judge among people when they are doing that. And people need to know that. Okay, it's like someone coming to the office and want to, Sheikh, I have a quick question, and they want to sit and talk. Now, if I refuse, they become offended, right? And if I answer, maybe I'm doing in the middle of something, then I want to finish it fast. I'm not giving it its right. So when I tell people make an appointment, it's actually to help more. But if everybody can barge in and come then I'm not going to help anybody. But if people make appointments, then I can help each and every one, and I dedicate time. So I'm sitting there listening to you. You should be happy about that. Okay, sometimes you come to the class, but you're not ready. I am ready, you're not ready. You're ready, I'm not ready. Both of us are not ready. So we want to make sure that everything is ready as much as you can. So this chapter is like that. So first thing is you have to know the fundamentals of what you are going to study. The fundamentals of study. Al-usul. I want you to say that word. Usul. Usul. Usul, you can write it with U-S-O-O-L. U-S-O-O-L. Usul. Memorize that word. As the seeker of knowledge, without that word, you're lost. Okay? So the word is what? Usul. Even in any culture, they tell you everything have usul, right? Like, someone who want to get married, there is usul for every culture. How you engage, how you approach, how you do this. You want to study something, there is usul for it. All right? That you wanted to be a mother, there is usul for it. You wanted to have anything, there is usul. So when you are seeking the knowledge, there is general usul for seeking knowledge, which we're studying here, and there are specific usul for each subject. If you're going to study tafsir, there is usul of tafsir. You want to study fiqh, there is usul of fiqh. You want to study hadith, there is usul of hadith. You study history, there is usul of history, and so on. Now you understand the word? Usul means the fundamentals, without which you cannot be professional in that. Usul. Someone wants to study a craft. You want to study craft, like tailoring or pottery or embroidery or anything like that. They teach you there is usul. There is a line and there is another line, and you do that and you repeat this, needlework. There is usul. Then you can innovate later. You can create your own thing, but you cannot create your own usul. You know, usul is needle on a fabric, a stitch. It's called a stitch. That's usul. Now, how you do the stitch, how you become creative, that's no problem. But first, you have to believe that this is called a stitch, and you need a needle, and you need that. That's called usul. Sometimes usul is one or two, then everything else is creative. Sometimes you have 100 usul before you become creative. Do you understand me? So don't think usul is always easy, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes you spend a lifetime in the usul. Okay? So it's very, very important. Now you understand what the word usul is? So that is the main thing in seeking any knowledge, is to know the usul of it. That's like the foundation. Without that, you are going to be going around, but you don't know what is what. Okay? If I give you a key to my house, I tell you, okay, when you enter the house, this thing on the right, this thing on the left, that no electricity, you have to be, now I'm giving you usul, and then there are things you figure out on your own. But if I don't give you any usul, what's going to happen? You're going to have problems. You're going to run into issues. Now, and that's why knowledge is gradual. Also the second thing, so you have to seek the usul. Number 2, you cannot achieve everything at once. And don't dream that you're going to achieve a lot in a short time. That's also another flaw of seeker of knowledge. They think by quantity they are achieving, while sometimes it is not a blessing. It's a bad thing. It's not a blessing. Sometimes you need small amounts. So someone comes to me and they want to start memorizing the Quran. I give them Surah Al-Fatiha first day. They kind of look at each other and they leave, like, what? And then they come the next week, I give them the last 3 surah. قل هو الله أحد قل أعوذ برب الفلق قل أعوذ برب الناس. Sheikh, come on, I can memorize 2 pages a day. I said, I know. But wait for a few weeks. Few weeks, they find that they have like 15 surahs and they cannot do it. You understand? So I am training them not for quantity. I'm training them how to perfect verb, and perfect the quality of Surah Al-Fatiha. Because when they learn that over a long time, then any smaller portion I give, what would be the first thing to do? Quality. Right? Once the quality becomes a second nature to care about, then you increase the quantity. You see? So knowledge, seeking knowledge comes like that. You have to be comfortable first with processing what you get. All right? So we learn the usul. Number 2, you have to know that ilm is gradual. من رام العلم جملة ذهب عنه جملة. يعني whoever seeks the knowledge in its entirety at once, it will leave in its entirety at once. So the more you will know, the more you will forget in the beginning. Okay? Because we cannot retain 100% of what we do. If you retain 40%, you're great, by the way. If you retain 40% of what you hear, that means you're an advanced person. That's why we read a lot. And one of my sheikhs said, Mamdouh, you have to read 2-3 hours a day. 2 to 3 hours a day, every day, for the rest of your life. He knows I'm not going to read 2-3 hours a day, every day for the rest of my life. But at least I know that this is a goal now I have to achieve. So if there is a day I read half hour, and a day I read 2 hours, and a day I read 3 hours, I'm still good. That's one. Number 2, at the end of the 3 hours, I can tell you it is only about 15-20 minutes of quality reading that they come out. So 10-15 pages out of 100 pages I read, which is good too, because this over a year, it's an achievement. Now if I read only 10-15 pages a day, I achieve like 10-15% of that, means nothing. Now you understand why we say, you have to go gradual, but you have to have a goal. You have to have a goal. Until quantity becomes important. Now for me, quantity is important. I need to read a lot to get as much as I can. All right? Because whatever I get, I know how to process. I know what to do with it. But for you, usul, more important than anything. Okay? So when you study tafsir, I don't want you to go and read the whole tafsir of the Quran now. No, I want to know what tafsir is. What are the different schools of tafsir? Who was the tafsir at the time of Rasulullah? Who among the Sahaba was famous of tafsir? What are the basics of tafsir? What a person doing tafsir interpretation of the Quran, explanation. What are the tools needed? Okay? You know that there are 12 different linguistic sciences. 12 linguistic sciences in relation to Arabic language. 12 linguistic sciences that they are a prerequisite for a person who's doing tafsir. Yes. I can tell you Ibn Kathir said, I'm not doing tafsir now. Am I? No, I'm not doing tafsir when I tell you the mufassirin say da, like that. I'm not doing tafsir. I'm not a mufassir. The mufassir is the one that I'm quoting from. Okay? Because if I say this ayah means, and I start saying something which is not said, now I am a mufassir. Now you get the idea, right? I cannot do that except if I have certain tools. It's okay, but I have to have certain tools. If I come up with something new. 12 sciences of Arabic language to know that. Now, let alone somebody coming now and even does not know Arabic and want to do tafsir. This ayah means such and such. Who told you this? I just feel it. I just understood it like that. Now, knowing the usul as a seeker of knowledge, you know that this person just stay away from. Okay? If someone comes and say, I think this ayah means such and such, I'm sorry, tell them shut up. But just say it, shut up. You are saying something on behalf of Allah. Because that's what it means, right? When you say, I think this ayah means, that means this is what Allah means. Because why Allah give us this ayah of the Quran? Why does Allah give ayah, this ayah in the Quran? For you and me to understand it, right? Yani Allah giving us a message to do what with it? To understand it and follow it. So I need to know what the message means. That's what the Sahaba did with Rasulullah. Ya Rasulullah, does this ayah means this? He said, no, that's not what you understood. It is such and such and such. Now, if you appoint yourself in place of Rasulullah, now this is a big danger now. Rasulullah said, whoever say something I did not say on my behalf, let them go find their place in hellfire. That's for the statement of Rasulullah. How about you saying Allah means such and such? You see, and if this is the statement of Rasulullah, you say, Rasulullah said this is a hadith, and it's not a hadith. That's a place in hellfire. May Allah save us. What about a person who says, I think Allah means this? So who are you? A prophet receiving revelation? You have knowledge, a chain? If you don't have any of that, you should have the prerequisites with which, when you look, you can understand it like it is understood for 1400 years. Okay? You get my idea here. Why the ulama make all these prerequisites? For that, what I just told you. You are not the prophet. You are not the companion. You don't have a chain that you are repeating whatever was said. Now you have an idea. And the Quran is like that. Quran can give new ideas. Yani no big deal. No problem here. We're not saying it's a problem. But you have to have enough tools that you are going to decipher and understand within a certain framework. Within a certain framework. You are not bringing any new idea. You are bringing new understanding, application, But it is the same thing. I give you an example. Allah Azza wa Jal says, قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ. Say to them, walk on earth and see what happened to those who disbelieved in Allah. This ayah has a reason of revelation. Let's say, at the time of Rasulullah, it is revealed to the people of Quraysh. Rasulullah tell them, walk and see the people of Ad, Thamud. That's what the books of tafsir say. Okay? Now, can we apply this ayah to us and see? Yes, we can. But who can say this? Who can say that? Someone who have the tools to tell you that this ayah is applicable within that framework. Okay? So why? Because there is some hadith, there is some ayat, there is some other teachings of the Sahaba that there is a rule which says there is a specific reason of the revelation, but there is the generality of meaning of application. So that's usul in tafsir. العبرة بعموم المعنى لا بخصوص السبب. After deciphering all the tafsir and the ayat, the scholars came up with a rule. That rule says the ayah may have a specific reason of revelation, but it has a general meaning, can be applied. So the meaning of the ayah can be anybody who disbelieves in Allah, you should look at and learn a lesson from. Does this contradict with the main teachings of Islam? No. Does Islam actually invite us to learn from the mistakes of the others? Yes. But who can say that? Someone who has the tools. Make sense for you? It's very interesting science, by the way, the usul of tafsir. It's very interesting. And once you know it, you become very scared to initiate anything without knowledge. So knowing the usul, knowing it is gradual, and knowing that you cannot do it alone. You have to do it coaching and mentoring is a main thing in seeking the Islamic knowledge. Memorize this, please, because it is very, very important. People want somebody to teach their kids Quran to pronounce it right. But why, when we become adults, we want to find our fatwas our own, we want to learn our own, we want to do our own. When I went to Minnesota in 2004 to 2009, being an imam of the masjid, another masjid and all that, so I was imam, well known, all of this. But when I went there, the first week I asked my sheikh there, Sheikh, I want you to see my wudu and my salah. I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. See, I have the chance now, I have a coach, one-on-one, right? And that's my sheikh. I don't want to go there, study advanced qira'at and study this and that. I told the sheikh, would you give me few minutes after we finish, sheikh? I want you to check my wudu. And I did my wudu and he actually corrected few things. You see, I'm sharing this with you to show you sometimes we overlook important things. Would you do the same? You should. You should find someone more knowledgeable than you to review these basic things. Right? Is my ruku' right? Is my sujood right? Am I saying the dua right? These are the things that we repeat every day, but we take it for granted sometimes. Right? So, am I reading Surah Al-Fatiha right? Am I reading Qul Huwallahu Ahad right? You need to fix these things. So that's being a student of knowledge. Sometimes we are, I'm a seeker of knowledge. I'm going to study fiqh. I'm going to study aqidah, and you're leaving the main issue. So coaching and mentoring is very important. Now, any branch of knowledge you do, and we will now say the list. Any branch you do, you need to study a beginner book in it. Beginner book. So find the simplest, easiest, most precise text in the subject you are trying first. Don't go to the big one. So any subject, any topic you choose the easiest one. It is like somebody learning a language. What do we tell them? Read the children's stories. If somebody learning English, we tell them, kindergarten, stories, those picture ones. Start reading it and memorize those little words. Sesame Street and all rhyming stuff. It's good. In Arabic, it's the same thing. In Islamic studies, same thing. Wallahi, I advise you. Sometimes we think we are adults, we need to read complicated books. There is a series called Islamic Studies, like 12 books. It's called Islamic Studies. Very nice. That I advise any student of knowledge, read it first. You read it first before you teach it to anybody or the children. At least when the children are studying, you study it. So if you find Islamic studies made for kids, you start with that and then you go from there. I'm not saying every student has to do that because you're attending classes already, but I'm just saying if you advise someone. So start with the shortest, most precise, easiest text in the topic and go read it with a professional in that topic. Okay? So Usul al-Tafsir, come say, okay, Sheikh, I want to study Usul al-Tafsir. What would be the easiest text? I'll suggest one for you. Okay? Then you can read it, and then whatever you have, you put underline, and you can discuss, and you can talk about it. And that's how you study things. Then I tell you, what? Go to a little bit more comprehensive. So there are 3-4 books you need to study to know Usul al-Tafsir. But this one here is your base. That's your base. You're going to almost memorize it. It's like your base. Then you go branch off from there. Then when you're reading Ibn Kathir, that's why he wrote it. Oh, that's why he's mentioning that. Oh, that's what it means. That is what's going to happen. Now you're going to Ibn Kathir, you just quote and dump it somewhere else. Am I right? That's what you do. But once you study Usul al-Tafsir, you know who is Ibn Kathir. What is the basis he wrote. Why he mentioned this and why he said that and he said this first, he said that second. Then you're going to say, oh my God, what I've been doing all my life here. Okay? And then you will say, okay, Ibn Kathir is not enough then. I need to read the other one. And the other one, why he did not do like Ibn Kathir? Why is this? Then it's going to expand your horizons. Alright? So text, easiest text, do it with a sheikh. Don't be busy with long things, don't rush. And don't go with from a short text to another short text without the advice of your mentor. Okay? And always be ready to take notes, like we are doing right now. There is nothing equivalent to taking notes. Nothing equivalent to taking notes. Because once you take notes, you are actually putting the juice of your understanding. Later, you forgot. When you look at the notes, the whole thing comes back to you. So notes are very important. Now, if we go to Arabic language, I'm going to suggest only like a couple of things, right? Arabic language. You have to, because now I'm going to twist it a little bit here, because all the suggested ones are for the Arabic speaking, right? So for the Arabic, we start with something called Al-Ajurrumiyyah. Al-Ajurrumiyyah. A person, his name is Ibn Ajurrum, he wrote a few pages to cover all the Arabic grammar. right? Arabic grammar. So students of knowledge, they start by memorizing it. They know the rules of Arabic grammar, subject, predict, all of this, verb, sentence, all of that. And then we go a little bit higher and we study a few other texts. But now, for someone who, I'm saying this for the Arabic speaking, you go with Al-Ajurrumiyyah first. Al-Ajurrumiyyah, and there are many YouTube explanations for it. So for an Arab student, Arab seeker of knowledge, without this, you're not going to go anywhere. Trust me, because your tongue is not going to pronounce things right. You are not going to decipher the structure of certain words, and it might affect actually your understanding of texts. If you don't know مبتدأ خبرا فعلا فاعلا صفة مشبها مفعول به and مفعول لأجله and all of these kind of things, then you are not going to get lost. Because sometimes you're going to read like something eloquent, and when you have a precise text, it means it's condensed, means it's advanced linguistic, right? So that means you have to know. So for Arabic speaking, Matn al-Ajurrumiyyah is a must. And then you can actually finish it in 3 to 6 months. You can finish that one. In 3 to 6 months, understanding and explanation, it is in YouTube. Now for the non-Arabic speaking, I will advise you to study the Medina books. Medina books. You know Medina? There are 3 books. Study them, and I think there is a website for the author. Abdul Rahim something, there is a website for it. And the website has exercises, has stuff like this. And my advice to you, it's a must, as a student of knowledge, if, and this is going to be shocking a little bit, I'm sorry, forgive me, if at a certain point of your seeking the knowledge, you don't know Arabic, you're not going to go anywhere. Okay? So you can go far as much as you want, but then you're going to plateau. That's it. You are not going to be achieving anything. That's why you find any scholar, American, Pakistani, Indian, whatever, once they know Arabic, they go to certain heights, different heights in the deen. I'm speaking English to you right now, right? I'm speaking English to you. Sometimes I feel actually more comfortable teaching in English than Arabic. But all my readings in Arabic. I'm having the Arabic text in front of me while I'm teaching you. Okay? So I'm just telling you how. When I have this much knowledge and I'm funneling it to you, this is different from when I have this much knowledge. Right? And I'm giving you drops. Okay? So this is when you access Islam in English. That's what you have access to. Right? Something dripping, and then you are filtering the drops. Okay? But when you know Arabic, you are actually open to the Pacific Ocean, the gates. And then you can funnel it as small or as big as you want. All right? So Arabic language. I don't want you to be frustrated. Actually, I'm trying to empower you here. I'm not trying to frustrate you. So start with the Medina book and make it as a project. Make it as a project. Put for yourself a timeline, December 31st, 2018. And say, I want to finish all these 3 books of Medina, and see where you're gonna be. You are not gonna be a loser. You're gonna achieve something. You're gonna be somewhere. All right? Even if you're not speaking Arabic fluently, you will know some Arabic. Can we make this as a goal, inshallah? So Arabic is a must. But if you know Arabic, then you study Ajurrumiyyah. And then there is Qatr al-Nada wa Ball al-Sada, there is Alfiyat ibn Malik, there is Mulhat al-I'rab, there are other books mentioned here, and you can read the list. But I'm just giving you one of each, okay? Because we said we have to take a concise text here. That's in Arabic language. Now, if we go to fiqh, how many here like Shafi'i mazhab? Shafi'i mazhab, all the sisters from Malay and Singapore and with the Shafi'i mazhab. So I would like you to contact your Sheikh in your language and ask them to suggest for you a text in your language. The language that you read in. If your language you don't feel comfortable like English, then find one of the translated books of madhab. There is a book called Matn Abi Shuja' in the Shafi'i fiqh. I think it's translated to English. So you go on Google and you will find in Shafi'i. In Hanafi, same thing. Ask one of the Sheikh al-Hanafi and see if there is a book in Urdu from Pakistan, a book in Urdu that they start teaching the fiqh of worship. That's what I care about. Fiqh of worship. Tahara, Salah, Siyam, Zakah, and Hajj. That's what you need as a student of knowledge in the beginning. You need to finish this. Even as just reading. Just read it. Just read it from beginning to end. And if there is any word underlined you don't understand, and ask about it. That will make you familiar with fiqh al-ibadat on a certain madhab. And it's important to study it on a certain madhab, by the way. If you are from Morocco and North Africa and all that, this is Maliki fiqh. There is a book called Mukhtasar Khalil, and I think it's translated to English as well. The book of fiqh Shafi'i we mentioned, fiqh Maliki we mentioned, fiqh al-Hanbali. You start with Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat. It's translated, I'm sure of that, because that's my madhab. The most concise of texts, and it is translated. Subhanallah, I forget the book of the fiqh al-Hanafi. But you can ask Sheikh Farouqi or ask anybody here in the masjid, he will tell you right away. So you take the easiest text in fiqh and study it, right? In English or in your language preferably, right? If your language is Malay, Spanish, French, Arabic, Urdu. Why I'm saying that? Because you'll digest it better. Okay? Digest it better. If not, then you go to the second language that you know, second best language that you know. I know it's going to be a struggle, but that's okay. In hadith, also you can refer to fiqh al-sunnah, by the way. Fiqh al-sunnah by Sayyid Sabiq. Fiqh al-sunnah. It's translated in English and it is available in PDF. So the book of fiqh. But this, use it as a reference. I told you to take a madhab first, right? And that's your base. But fiqh al-sunnah, basically, he gives all the madhab, right? He says Shafi'i say this, that, and he chooses a little bit. So have fiqh al-sunnah as a reference in your library. And it's Arabic and English available. Taban, before all of that is Quran, huh? We have the Quran. We have Quran and your favorite translation, that's in your library. You cannot live without it. Then we talked about the Arabic language, Medina for the non-Arabs, and Ajur Rumiya for the Arabs. Then fiqh now, you're going to call your Sheikh of Madhab, Hanafi if you are Hanafi, Shafi'i if you are Shafi'i, Maliki if you are Maliki, Hanbali if you are Hanbali, and choose the easiest book. Everybody knows. Yani every madhab, they know what is the basic book. Like I told you, Hanbali madhab, it's a basic book, is Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat lil-Ba'li, or Kitab al-Umda li Ibn Qudama. Those are Manar, Sabil for the fiqh. Those are the basics, of basics. And fiqh Shafi'i Matna Abu Shuja', and fiqh al-Maliki Mukhtasar Khalil, and fiqh subhanallah, fiqh al-Hanafi. I studied the book, but I'll remember it, inshallah. So those are in fiqh, and have the fiqh sunnah as well. Also you can have the book of Bulugh al-Maram, and it's translated to English as well by Ibn Hajar. Bulugh al-Maram has the hadith, it's fiqh, but hadith of ahkam. We have book of fiqh on madhab, right? On the madhab. But then this Bulugh al-Maram, Imam Ibn Hajar collected it to give you the hadith of Rasulullah that have rulings, like the hadith that used for the salah, hadith used for zakah, hadith. So you are doing two things here. You are knowing the hadith and you're knowing the hadith that discusses fiqh. You understand? So that is a supporting book, a little bit advanced than the beginner. Then you go to Tawheed, Aqidah. Now we're going to come to an icky situation. Some people have said, Wahhabi and Salafi and Sha'ari and this and that. I don't want you to get into these nitty-gritties, but I would advise you to go and study the 8 books of Dr. Sulaiman al-Ashqar. Umar Sulaiman al-Ashqar. May Allah have mercy on him. He wrote 8 books in Arabic and is wonderfully translated by Islamic International Publishing House, IIPH. And you will find it also, maybe you do not find all 8 PDF, but you'll find some of it. So it goes very, very easy on believing, the ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah, believing Allah, believing in the angels. He had 8 books. One for believing Allah, one for the angels, one for the jinn, one for the day of judgment. You know that one.
The bookstore, Darussalam.
You have it.
They have it.
Yeah, and you can order it online as well from IIPH. IIPH, you can order it, or you can go order it from bookstore. So that's a good book, and both in Arabic and English, and you should be reading that as well. I'll tell you how not to confuse yourself at the end of the list, okay? So we did Quran with your favorite translation, we did the Arabic language, and we did the fiqh, and we did the Aqidah now, okay? Aqidah now. After we finish this book, I'm going to give you another list. So remind me, inshallah. After we finish the explanation, at the end, I'm going to give you level 2 and level 3. So this is level 1. Level 1 of seeking the knowledge, right? Then I'll give you level 2 in Arabic, level 2 in each subject. I'll give you level 2 and level 3. Fiqh al-Sunnah, yes. Fiqh al-Sunnah, Sayyid Sabiq. You can find it on the internet as well. And also the bookstore will be carrying it as well. Fiqh al-Sunnah. Sayyid Sabiq. Yeah, I give that list, so share it, inshallah. Yeah. Also, there is a book called Al-Aqidah Wasitiyah. Aqidah Wasitiyah to Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Aqidah al-Wasitiyah. Wasit is a city in Iraq. It's called Wasit. Wasit is a city in Iraq that they sent to Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, asking him to write to them a text in Aqidah, believing in Allah and His attributes and all of that. So he wrote for them that book, which is translated also into English. Okay, so you have to do this with sheikhs. Seerah, the books of Seerah. In Seerah, the history, read Dr. Muhammad Ali As-Sallabi. He's a Libyan wonderful scholar that he, in my opinion, did in the Seerah what nobody did in 14 centuries. Yeah. And this book, you can look at it in the library here, in the bookstore right here. He wrote the Seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then the Seerah of the 4 Caliphs, each one a book or 2, and then Seerah of Al-Hasan ibn Ali, then the Umayyad, then the Abbasis, then the Uthmani, until our life, yani. So he wrote the whole history in a very, very professional way, and is all translated to English. Muhammad Ali As-Sallabi. As-Sallabi. So Seerah, this is a wonderful way to go. Have the Seerah of the Prophet and the Caliphs for you now. Like this is the, don't go more than that. Don't go to the other political history after that. Just stick with this for level 1, right? The Seerah of the Prophet and the 4 guided Caliphs. And he wrote it in a very unbiased way, supported with the Sahih Hadith and the Ayat. And then, that's the most important part. I want you to, because you can read Ibn Kathir, history of this, the Seerah of Sheikh, Sealed Nectar, all of these things. But they just narrate. But Dr. Salabi analyzes and gives you lessons. All right, so he analyzes. He says why the Battle of Badr took place, and what was the political results of the Battle of Badr, and what the lessons that they learned, and what the lessons we learn. You understand? So you are studying Seerah, but you are not just studying Seerah, you are taking a course. So that's very important. So what else we have in Hadith? Take the 40 Hadith, 40 Hadith, 40 Nawawiyah. If you can memorize them, that would be great. As level 1, as a student of knowledge, if you can memorize them, that would be great. And the Riyadh al-Salihin. So 40 Hadith and Riyadh al-Salihin. Riyadh al-Salihin has all 40 Hadith in it, by the way. So if you study the 40 Hadith, then you go to Riyadh al-Salihin, you already did the 40 Hadith. It becomes like a trial how to delve into Riyadh al-Salihin. Riyadh al-Salihin basically a book that covers all aspects of life. All right? So this is your library. Also, you have the book There is a book by Sheikh Jamal Zarabozo, one of the contemporary scholars, that he explained the 40 hadith in 2 huge volumes. Three big volumes. He goes into too much details so that you can have that as a reference. If you take a hadith, take one hadith and study it thoroughly. So this is a very good way to actually get insight into hadith from a scholar. He did a great job, by the way, in English. So the book is initially written in English, and I appreciate that, not translated. There's 2 different things. When a scholar who knows Arabic and knows the in-depth of things, then he put it in English language, which is his mother tongue, it becomes a very good work. All right? So, in the tafsir, have Ibn Kathir. Of course, it is abridged, but it's all right. In Usul al-Tafsir, you're going to have the book of Usul Tafsir. It's called Usul al-Tafsir, or Fundamentals of Tafsir, by Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. And I have my explanation on that book, and I don't know if it's on YouTube or not, but I'm sure it is recorded. It is somewhere. I'll be very disappointed if it is not there, because I remember I did this 2 years ago and it was recorded. So Usul al-Tafsir. Usul al-Tafsir for Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Okay, so these are the books that you need now in your library. That would be your project basically in the next couple of years. All right, those are your books in the next couple of years. If you go out of them, you go as a reference, but don't confuse yourself. So we're going to have the Quran and our favorite translation. All right, and don't switch and change. Stick with that. Comparison of translations later, not now. Okay, so stick with everything I say, stick with it. Don't jump and don't try to, just sticking to one thing is most important at this stage. Is that clear? So Quran and your favorite translation. Then Tafsir Ibn Kathir and Usul al-Tafsir for Ibn Taymiyyah. Those are the books in the Tafsir. You're going to have them in your library. Okay? Then you go to the fiqh. You're going to do the madhab, the shortest and most precise book in fiqh of worship. Right? We're going to read the whole thing. If you can read it with someone who is in that madhab, that would be good. Assign 2-3 weeks that you're going to read every week 2 hours with the sheikh. So at least you read, they listen, you underline the words, and you finish with that. And fiqh sunnah as a reference. In hadith, we do 40 hadith. If you are English speaker, Sheikh Zarabozo inside, or you can find the 40 hadith in YouTube. There are explanations for it in Arabic. Many shuyukh explained it, right? So try to memorize the matn, try to memorize the hadith, and listen to the explanation of it on YouTube. In Arabic and English, they're available both. Riyadh al-Salihin we do here every Sunday morning, and it is put on YouTube and it is put on the Facebook page of the masjid. So try to make a habit of attending these classes. We explained about 160 hadith or so in the last 2 years. So Riyadh al-Salihin. And then in the Arabic language I mentioned already Medina or Ajurumiyya. In Aqidah I mentioned Dr. Al-Ashqar. Sirah I mentioned Dr. Salabi. And then you can have the book of Minhaj al-Muslim, Minhaj al-Muslim, or the Way of the Muslim by Sheikh Bakr Abu Zaid. Those are your basics, usul, right? Now, someone will say, I confuse myself now. No, you have 2 ways. One is to study one branch, right, more thoroughly, and have general about the others, which I don't advise at this stage. What I advise at this stage is that you do all of this, right? And you can divide. You can divide your week. Sirah, you don't have. Sirah is like leisure reading. It can be like reading extra. So you can divide Arabic language, that's a main, okay? Fiqh and tafsir. You see, those are 3. Arabic language, fiqh, and tafsir. Why? Arabic language is like your tool. We mentioned that, right? Fiqh, because you worship. every day, every year Ramadan. You have money, you give zakat, sadaqah, right? So fiqh, tahara and all that is needed. And Arabic language is needed for all the future. And tafsir because we read Quran and we understand and all the knowledges come from Quran. Now hadith is extra, seerah is extra, aqidah is extra, all right? Because we already believe in Allah Azza wa Jal. You understand me? So those three subjects, I want you to be focusing on them and divide your week based on that. Okay, so you say 2 days for Arabic, 2 days for tafsir, and 2 days for fiqh study. So assign yourself that. And then assign the exact hours you are going to study that. You know there is something called ABCD way of learning, something like that. Google it, ABCD. ABC style of learning, ABCD. So what you do first, second, third, like how you do your things. And then how you write a plan. First you write a goal, and there is templates for that, by the way. You write a goal, you say, by studying tafsir, I want to study tafsir too. So what do you want to achieve? At this timeline, and then how you're going to do it. And then you write the objectives, and then you make your plan, you know, on all of that. Like I told you, 2018, December 31st, 2018, that's my goal. I want to finish the 3 books of Medina. How are you going to do that? With who are you going to do that? That's a plan. But you set up a goal first. All right? You set up a goal first. Tafsir, same thing. I'm going to study the book of Usul al-Tafsir. So write your plan, write your goal, then you can make your plan after you decide who is going to help you. Because you can make the plan and there is nobody, then you have a problem. Okay? Or you say, okay, there is nobody, but I will sign up for a course in Mishkah, for example, you know, to study the tafsir or study the fiqh. They have a class called Fiqh of Worship, right? 1 semester, you listen to all the videos, you have the BTF, you have everything, book Fiqh of Worship, done. I'm just saying different ways you can achieve what you want. Okay? So Fiqh of Worship, we wanted to have on my madhab. Arabic language, I want to have. And tafsir, I want to have the usul. And this can be our project for 2018 as level 1 in things, right? While you are studying tafsir, hadith will come, you know. While you are studying Arabic, you can apply in the Quran. While you are studying fiqh, you know, an ayah of the Quran will come. So those 3 will come together in sync at the end. Right? And the scholar said from country to country is different, but we're in America. That's why I told you I'm making a little bit twist. If you read the book, you'll find a different list than what I mentioned, right? Why? Because they are speaking to Arabic language, especially those who are in the Gulf area, right? So they're studying. And people who are studying fiqh al-Hanbali in Egypt is different from those who study fiqh al-Hanbali in Arabia, you know? They study Zad al-Mustaqni' there, we study Manar al-Sabil in Egypt, you know. People who study Hanafi in Egypt are different from those who study Hanafi in Pakistan, you know. You have to understand that. But each one has their own base, but it's the same base at the end of the day. Also, I want to advise you something. Once you put your foot on that path, you have to know that the classmates are harmonious with you. That's why I said in the beginning, make sure you attend the class to the end, from beginning to the end. Because this class is usul. This class is a class of fundamentals, right? So make sure that those who are with you are not pulling you down, and they are not ahead of you, so you keep running behind. You understand? Because this is a big issue. And some of the classes, I'll start in this masjid actually, I'm not going to do in the musalla anymore. Why? Because walk-ins will not benefit the person who walk in and will deter those who are there. Right? If someone come and ask a question that we answered already 2 classes ago, right? Takes away. So it is very important that you know the halqa of Sheikh such and such in Houston, that's an advanced aqidah. I don't want you to go sit there. Right? It's not because I'm jealous from the Sheikh. No, I don't want you to get confused. He actually doesn't want you to get confused. Right? I don't want anybody to come the last class of this and sit and think it is going to be okay. No, you have to listen to all the videos before. Right? So, and go from there. That's why the sisters who are preparing this and writing and all of this, they benefit a lot because, they are summarizing everything. Right? So it's very, very important. It will help you. So make sure that those with you are with you. And if one drops, make sure they don't drop. Bring them back. Support each other. Like this is your strength. I'm telling you. If the class decreases, you lose. So make sure that you stick together and you empower each other, encourage each other. Now, also, sometimes we have our ups and downs as individuals. Sometimes I'm excited, sometimes I'm not excited, but you have to have that motivation as well. All right, so we did the Tawheed, we did all of this. Nahu. Arba'in al-Nawawi, we mentioned that. Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen is mentioning all of this. I'm not saying don't go and read in Bukhari and Muslim and all of that, but you're not going to achieve much. You know that Bukhari, many scholars actually consider it as a book of fiqh. And he put it to say what is his madhab. Like he reached to the level of ijtihad that he have his own opinion in things. So he writes, this is the section of such and such, means that's his opinion. Then he brings the proof from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he's, that's why they said the fiqh of Imam Bukhari is in the titles of his chapters. Whoever understand the titles of the chapters of Bukhari understand what is Bukhari. But people open Bukhari and they just go, oh, the hadith in Bukhari. But why Bukhari put it in the hadith? Why Bukhari put that in the fiqh of hadith? You get the point here? So he mentioned something and then he mentioned hadith. Sometimes an average scholar and an average student of knowledge cannot figure it out. Can't figure it out. You see the topic and you see hadith which is completely not related. Completely not related. And you see, you're like, it's amazing, right? So it's like you have to subtle meaning. That's why Ibn Hajar came Fath al-Bari. I think Fath al-Bari is like here somewhere. It's like 14 volumes to explain Sahih al-Bukhari. 14 volumes to give all these titles and why Bukhari mentioned this, why he mentioned that. So going to Sahih al-Bukhari does not benefit you as a beginner or student of knowledge. That's what I'm trying to say. Some people say the Bukhari Sharif, Bukhari Muslim, Sahih Muslim. But how you are going to use it, that is what matters. It's not how you have Sahih al-Bukhari or you read Sahih al-Bukhari, but what you benefit from it. Yeah.
Either if Sahih Bukhari is considered
the most authentic, yes. The most authentic after the Quran, because he made a strong condition on himself. Like Imam al-Bukhari memorized basically the whole Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he did not write except 2,000 plus hadith. They are 6,000 something with the repetitions. He repeats. Sometimes the same hadith is mentioned in the section of Salah, Jihad and marriage, because the same hadith, he takes pieces of it and quote. Imam Muslim does not do that. Imam Muslim mentioned the hadith once in one section, in its totality, and that's it. He gets over to the next one, right? So Muslim was the student of Bukhari, by the way. Tirmidhi was the student of Muslim. And Imam Ahmad was the teacher of Bukhari. All of them were teachers of each other, basically. Imam Ahmad was the teacher of Abu Dawood. All of them were related. So basically that. But each one of them make a condition of his collection. Imam Bukhari make a condition, like I will not put a hadith in my collection except that each narrator from me to the Prophet ﷺ lived and saw and heard this specific hadith from his teacher. Okay? So I will not write a hadith except I myself heard it from the Sheikh, looking at his eyes while he's saying it. Alright? And he will write it. Now, did my Sheikh looked at the eyes while listening from his Sheikh? Yes. Then I go to the next one until the Sahabi actually listened from Rasulullah. Then he write it down. Okay? So the Sahih, the authenticity of Bukhari is in the condition he made. Now Imam Muslim, he says, as long as those two lived at the same time with the possibility of meeting each other, I'll put the hadith. They don't lie. Make sure that they are not liars. There is no lie about them. There is nothing that says they did not see it from each other. If he says, I heard it from that Sheikh, that means he saw it. So he takes the hadith. But Bukhari want to make sure that he saw it. He saw him. So, those are some others, they say, no, I just read the hadith. And some other scholars, they will just put the hadith there, whether it is a da'if or not, for someone else to analyze it. So some people, they say, oh, the author of this book of hadith, he has it in his book, that means it is good. No, he know it is not. And he put it there knowing it is not, for you to decipher. And some people, their condition, that's why you have to read the introduction. His condition said, I wrote every hadith I heard. You are responsible now to sift it. So some people get a book of hadith and say, oh, this Sheikh wrote the book of hadith, so I follow it. But the Sheikh told you don't follow it. He wrote it because of the amana, like it's a trust. I don't have time to sift now, so I'm writing for you whatever I found, and you sift it later. Okay? So science of hadith is another deal. All right. Inshallah, we will do the level 2 and level 3 after we finish, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen. Okay? For the non-Arabic speaking, you should have a good dictionary. You should have a good dictionary. I don't know if there are new dictionaries or not from Arabic to English, but there was Hansver dictionary, Arabic to English. It's Arabic to English only, right? Yeah, and it gives the root and all of that. I'll advise you also, those who are non-Arabic speaking, I have to search this a little bit, but to find the wazn of the Arabic verbs. Wazn of the Arabic verbs means the forms, the different forms of Arabic verb. There's form 1, form 2, form 3. There's someone divided that. Like fa'ala, right? Fa'ala, fa'ila, fa'ula, right? You have that. Fa'ala, fa'ila, fa'ula. The ayn is changing here. Then you have fa'ala, fu'ila. That's the fa is changing, right? So you have to know this is the past tense. So from fa'ala, how the present tense comes. Fa'ala, yaf'alu, right? Fa'ila, yaf'ulu, like that. So you have to know this wasn't. If you master that, I think you already took leaps and bounds in knowing actually a lot, right? If you know that anything becomes fa'ala, it becomes like that. Fa'ala, like daraba, kharaja, dakhala, akala. That's fa'ala, right? Fa'ila, rakiba, and how you do the present tense. Once you know fa'ala becomes yaf'alu, then akala, ya'kulu, yaf'ulu. So that means it can be yaf'ulu, right? But daraba, yadribu, yaf'ilu. You see? So you have to know how each one is done. Then you know that. That's called sarf, right? Yeah, tasrif. And awzan al-fi'l. So it's very important to know these things as well. So the Sheikh at the end of this book, he mentioned that how we should go back again to mentoring and coaching and following the footsteps of the people or the guided predecessors, and all of that. Plus all of this, you need you need clear mind. You need to put your personal things aside when you are seeking the knowledge, because seeking the knowledge actually is what will help you. Don't abandon, of course, your duties as a spouse, as a mother, as a father, as all of that. We are not going to use this as a pretext to abandon our things. But at the same time, don't let that affect your seeking of knowledge. So have a balance. Establish a balance. And if you cannot achieve everything, achieve a little bit. No problem. But move forward. So don't say, I will study 2 hours a day, no matter what, and you abandon your duties, and then, becomes a clash. No, if you can do half hour, it's better than nothing. So I'm trying to establish a balance here, because some people, they become overzealous, and they kind of use this as a pretext, some, especially sisters. They want to come to the masjid more, they want to do this, and they want to do that, then their husbands are not happy with them, their children are abandoned, then we have a problem. And they say, Sheikh Mamdouh told us, I don't want to do more counseling here. I have enough already. Yeah, so you need to be smart about it. We are not going to be memorizing only without intelligence. Yeah, I told you memorize things, but it doesn't mean just memorize it like a parrot. No, you need to understand also what you are doing. Avoid argument with others at this stage specifically. Avoid argument, avoid argument, avoid argument, even if you win. That's not time for you to debate. Can we do that, inshallah? We're going to change, huh? We're not going to debate. I know it's hard. Sometimes, somebody did something wrong. The imam of the masjid, I go tell them, but ya Sheikh, assalamu alaikum, just go. I know it's hard. I can sit there and prove him wrong and that. But you know what's going to leave it then? Dark heart. He's not happy with me. He's not going to listen to me anymore. He become my enemy. I start the class, he's going to leave the masjid. So what did I achieve? And I proved him wrong. I embarrassed them, right? So it's not my goal. My goal is to make him correct. He did not accept it first time. He might accept it next time, right? Maybe we'll drink a coffee with each other next week and he will accept. But you get the idea here, right? So you have to think on that level. No debating at this level. Don't. Can we do that, inshallah? No debating. We just do da'wah. If the person accepts, alhamdulillah. If does not accept, please move on. I know it's tough. Wallah, it's tough. Especially when you are a beginner, you feel like you lost someone or whatever. But you will see what I'm talking about. Just move on. Don't waste your time in debating. Your time now is tahsil. Absorb. Take more. Okay? Then you speak. I remember when I was young, my father said, you sit and listen when the issues. A time will come that everybody wants you to speak. And he's right. So listen. I have fight the urge to speak. I want to speak. These people are like, I want to say it to them. But later on you know that when you say it counts. Really people want to hear your opinion. Okay? Because you listened a lot. You fight that urge until you. And تكلم إذا اشتهيت الصمت واصمت إذا اشتهيت الكلام. Yani be quiet when you have the urge to speak, and speak when you want to be quiet. So that's the best. So when you don't want to talk, then you speak, because your words will be counted. You don't want to speak, right? So you just say the fewest of words. You don't want to speak. It's like somebody said, how are you doing? Fine. One word only, right? Because you don't want to speak. But when you speak, say one word that describes everything. But somebody wanted to say, oh, I had fun, I ate this, I don't want to drink, I don't want to, I don't want all of this. I'm just saying, how are you doing? So when you want to describe all of this, just be quiet. And when you don't want to be quiet, just describe, because description will become accurate. Yeah. So subhanallah, very, very important. Some people have little knowledge, but they have a lot of wisdom. Some people have lots of knowledge, but no wisdom. And that's not what we want, right? That's not what we want. Subhanallah, the Sheikh wrote that a student of knowledge should have at least 500 volumes in his library. 500 volumes. in his library as a beginner يعني. So he said ويحصل من الدواوين المعتبرة 500 مجلد. So the Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen, he said وأين الذي عنده مكتبة فيها 500 مجلد? Who is the one who has like 500 that? So he said يكفيه أن يكتب بيديه 200 مجلد. They used to consider the beginner student of knowledge is the one who wrote with his own hand 200 volumes. Because they used to write everything. There was no recorder, no video camera, no Facebook, nothing like that. So whatever the Sheikh says, they said yani, for you to pass the level of the beginner, you wrote 200 volumes. Volumes مجلد يعني, they are not like volumes hours. Yani. I just want to give it. But still a lot. You know, كراسة يعني 100 pages. 100 to 150 pages, they used to consider it mujallad. They put them together, bind them together, they call it mujallad. But still a lot. You know, imagine if you have 200, 100, 150 each, you wrote with your hand behind the Sheikh, just as a beginner student of knowledge. So they say that according to them. But now, alhamdulillah, yani, I have in my iPad right here in front of you 5,000 volumes. This one here has 5,000 volumes. But what does that mean anyways? I have it digitally. But did I read them? No. So what they were talking about is what you have is what you know. And we will talk about this on the etiquettes with the book. So when you get a book, what you should do with it. In the library, yeah? Those books in the library. And don't forget the ikhlas and all of that. Also, you have to learn it from the shuyukh, and you have to find 2 conditions in every sheikh. One, that they are well known in the circles of the scholars, that they are professional in that. So recognized by other colleagues, peers, and teachers. So it's not just anyone who appeared, become famous. That means is, so there is maybe a da'i. Da'i means a good talker, but he is not a scholar. And that's the case, by the way, in our time now. Fame does not mean professional. Professional does not mean famous. Okay? Sometimes you have a local scholar who is not famous, but he is one of the best in the world. Sometimes everybody in the world knows them, but they're not scholar. They have 2 million people on Twitter or 1 million people on Facebook or whatever it is. So what? Who are his sheikhs? See, as a student of knowledge, you need to know that. You need to know that. You need to know where I learned. It's not like I come here and I present and I'm good. No, I learned in Al-Azhar University. If you go check, you'll find the list of my shuyukh who certified me and wrote it. Okay? So I'm not here playing. I'm here following the traditional way of transmitting knowledge. And that, as a student of knowledge, you need to be careful. You know, when you want to buy something, you go to the best place. When you want a service, you want the best provider, right? So in knowledge, you just don't go behind someone famous. You have to know where they get that knowledge from. Trace it. Is that clear? Trace the knowledge. This deen is deen of sanad. Our deen is the deen of the chain. You're taking your deen from Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have to know how it reached you. Someone telling you Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you have to know who is that person. Where did he get that from? Okay? So you have to know the qualification of the sheikh and then the integrity of the sheikh. Number 2. Integrity means they are pious, they are righteous, they are well known for their good behavior in the community. Okay? Good behavior in the community. They do what they preach. You don't know anything bad about them. Right? They are not committing haram stuff. Their character and their personality is good. So personality, akhlaq, and professional in the subject. So that's your concern as a student of knowledge before you choose a sheikh or you listen to someone. Now you are limiting your source of income, because you want to purify the source. You want to drink water, there is lots and plenty of water sources. But you are limiting, you know what, I'm going to drink spring water only. So now you are defined. I'm going to spring water in Texas. You're more defined, right? I'm going to spring water in Texas, sold in that store. You're more defined. I'm going to have a membership that the water is delivered to me every month. You understand? And I'm going to have a filter to do that. You are more defined because you care about your health. I'm just giving you an example. Knowledge is the same thing. Almost done. I want you to read this book, mashallah, because there are lots of nice things that you can do. Because when you are with the sheikh and with the group, it is better for you. You mistake less. Someone make a mistake, the other one catch it. Maybe you read something wrong. The sheikh tells you no, check that copy. The original say this. It's lots of benefit in that. So you read that chapter, and inshallah Rabbil Alameen will help you a lot. What I would advise, will not do Q&A today. I'll not do Q&A today because there is janazah prayer after Dhuhr. So I'm just gonna move on into the next chapter, give a couple of things, and then we stop. And then inshallah, if you have Q&A, either text it to me, email it to me, or we can do it next time. Can we do that inshallah? Yeah, because we want to move. Huh? Yeah. The third chapter is the etiquette with the Sheikh. First one is رعاية حرمة الشيخ, considering the Sheikh's status. طبعا status is not حرمة. So the translation here is not that accurate. See, that's the importance of studying with the Sheikh, right? I can tell you what the Arabic word means. Says حرمة means sanctity or sacredness. Haram, you know something haram? Haram means forbidden, prohibited. Masjid al-Haram means there are certain things prohibited, means sacred. So the word haram, it is not prohibition only. Haram means something sacred, not to be transgressed, right? So the hurma of the sheikh means, the things that cannot be exposed. It means you are ameen now, because you are more exposed to me as a sheikh than the general public. I'm more exposed to you than the general public, right? So I'm sitting in front of you now. You saw me walking in. You see me when I'm drinking. Now people can see life, but they don't see everything. Okay? I communicate with you and all that. I might make mistake. I'm a human being too. So these things, hurma. Hurma means people outside did not see it. They will be able to know it or see it only through you. You get it now? So mura'atu hurmat al-shaykh, ru'aya of hurmat al-shaykh means you are the gate now. There are things about your sheikh that nobody knows like you. So now what are you going to deliver to the others about the sheikh? You get that now? So you are the gate to the sheikh, gate of the community to the sheikh. So people will see your sheikh through you. Correct? So I tell you, my sheikh in Minnesota, Sheikh Walid, did such and such. Now I showed you my sheikh, what he did and what he said. I told you, he checked my wudu and all that. But I'm not going to tell you the things that I saw as a shortcoming. You understand? So he's presented to you as my sheikh, and he should stay like that. Is that clear? It's very important, by the way. رعاية حرمة الشيخ. Why? Because you are trusting him with your deen. He trusted you with his personal life, his personality. So you trust him with your deen, and he's teaching you to take you to Allah Azza wa Jal. So don't expose their shortcomings when you are able to see them. So the sheikh always should be revered, should be respected, and you should be nice with the sheikh. When you are sitting, the way you talk to them, the way you listen to him, even using your devices and your books. Using your devices and your books. Not to argue with him or not to argue in front of him. Right? Sometimes student asking me a question and another student start answering. That's not adab. You understand? Yeah. So when a student asks the sheikh the question, even the sheikh doesn't answer. You don't answer either. You don't answer. I don't want to answer. You can ask permission. Can I answer? No. Khalas. Answer outside. But majlis here is the sheikh's majlis. So don't argue with someone in front of the sheikh and don't argue with the sheikh. It takes away from the respect. And it takes away your respect from the heart of the sheikh too. You are not honoring the majlis. So that's very important. Also, they say when the Sheikh, have to understand I'm speaking general here. When the Sheikh is walking into the class, students should not walk before him. Unless the Sheikh makes it a rule. Like he says, I want all the students in the class before I enter. If I enter, nobody enters after me. That's his rule, right? But the general default rule, when we are entering, the Sheikh should enter first. We should honor the oldest person or the most honorable or our Sheikh to be ahead of us. And we do not jump in front of him. Don't cut him in the talk except if he allows it. And if I tell you you can comment at any time, it's okay. Otherwise, the default rule, no. If I say this is a discussion, fine. If I said no, means no discussion. Okay? It's not dictatorship. Think about it and you will find that it's for your maslaha, for your benefit. Also, if you ask the Sheikh a question and he answered you, don't try to get a certain answer from him. Some people do that. They push hard. Right? They push hard. But ya Sheikh this, but ya Sheikh that. So try to be precise and get the answer. And then maybe another time you follow up. Sometimes even I would think about the answer and then when I see you next time I said, you know what, such and such. And that's why a relationship is very important between a student and the Sheikh at all times. The Sheikh is not a service provider. Sheikh is like a father for you. It doesn't matter the age here. Like your biological father, this is your ilm father, right? So it's a life relationship. It's not like a service provider. Whenever I have a question, I dump it and I need my answer. Otherwise, you're not a good Sheikh. It doesn't work like that. It's a long-term relationship. Especially if you are a specific student, you have to make sure that you behave better in front of laity. Like you are now a specific class, right? Let's say I'm teaching a class for the whole masjid. Your behavior has to be even better, right? In front of others. And you know more than others. So don't try to show off with your knowledge and don't try to cut me off when I'm explaining to the others. Because sometimes I give you certain knowledge, I don't give it to the general public. Okay? So don't come and say, but ya Sheikh, you told us in the class that like this. Now you are destroying it. You are not helping. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, when you're an advanced student and sitting in a lower level, don't interfere. Yeah. So رعاية حرمة الشيخ always be respectful to the Sheikh. Unless the Sheikh makes the rule, as I said, when you are asking a Sheikh, you ask nicely. Even if the mas'ala intimidated you, for example. Some people, they will find them like exploding in a question. Right? So I'm talking about, but ya Sheikh, like this, this is not a student of knowledge. You will know. But a person would wait, Q&A, Ya Sheikh, Barakallahu feekum, I heard you saying such and, you see, you start with a dua. Sheikh, may Allah bless you, may Allah guide you and benefit us with you. You said such and such. Did I understand it right? Like this. Adab in the dua. Because what do you want? Do you want the truth or you want to challenge the Sheikh? You want to challenge the Sheikh? Better not to speak. Because your niyyah is already messed up. Okay? So you want the truth, you will ask nicely. And when you're listening, sometimes people ask me the question and then they start talking to the person beside them. Did you see that before or not? You see that before? I see it all the time. They ask you the question, then I'm answering you now. Why are you asking me the question? Yeah, no, I'm asking it for everybody, ya Sheikh. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. That's so there is adab in asking and there is adab in, and then you appreciate after this. Jazakallah khair. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Sheikh. Nafa Allah bikum. All right. Subhanallah, they said when you're flipping the pages, flip the pages, sister, flip the pages in your vigorously. Flip. All of you. Do it. You see that sound? That's not adab. I'm not saying you are not, I'm just saying, but that's not from adab. Because sometimes when we're reading a book, we all flip the page at the same time, and that sound will come. Subhanallah, the student of knowledge was so careful for this not to happen. Now I want all of you to flip the page at the same time. MashaAllah. You see? See the difference? You can do it, but now you know that this is an etiquette, so you are careful, each one. The outcome of the whole class becomes very nice. You see what etiquettes of seeking knowledge mean? When all of us adopt it, all of us benefit. It takes only one person to mess it up. Now we understand why it's important for us as a group to be very careful in who's studying with us, and all of that is very important. Very important. A new person comes, he does not know the adab, then mess it up. Okay? So that's very important. لا يكون في رفق يعني. So we mentioned all of that. Alhamdulillah. Don't ask too many questions, especially in front of general public. You said, my Sheikh, our Sheikh, may Allah bless you. Always start with a dua. It opens the heart of your Sheikh to answer you and give you better, because you have the adab. Many people, they ask, they call their Sheikh with his name or with the name that he doesn't like, and it affects the person. Yeah, we all, alhamdulillah, children of Adam, we are all equal, but respect is a needed value in our deen. Respect. When you respect someone, they respect you even more. In English, it's not like Arabic, but in Arabic, if you say, أنت قلت قلت كذا وكذا وكذا، يعني أنتم قلتم يا شيخنا تفضلتم كذا، ده في العربي يعني in Arabic. But in English, you say you. You have to say you said. What else? You is plural, you is female and male and everything, right? But in Arabic, if you say you, أنت, that's kind of humiliating to a sheikh or to an elder person. Don't call the sheikh loudly. طبعا sheikh or sheikha يعني for you, there is a knowledgeable sister. Sometimes people come and they, especially young people, they want to become like friends and buddies, right? Hey, what's up, sheikh? And they want to like have that. That's not good. Yeah? So that's not right. I say, yeah, if I'm playing basketball with you, that's fine. But you cannot do that in the masjid. You cannot come and put your hand on my shoulder like I'm your buddy, This is not good not because I'm arrogant, but it's not good for the ilm I'm carrying. It's not good for the lay person seeing this, what they're going to do next. It's not good for a little child seeing that growing. Okay? So I have to be really that. And you have to develop that about yourself as well. Not out of arrogance, but out of the value of what you are carrying. And Allah told us that about Rasulullah. Don't call him by name and don't raise your voice against him. And the ulama said you do that with the scholars who are carrying the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. And as I said, the Sheikh here says your biological father, this is your ilm father. The Sheikh is your ilm father. If the Sheikh makes a mistake or something like that, don't let him go down from your eyes. You said, I used to respect the Sheikh, but since he did that, I don't respect him anymore. Don't do that. A real student of knowledge will not do that. Will always find an excuse. Will always help and support the Sheikh to get out of their shortcomings, not the other way around. Because when you do that, it is like kind of waiting for a mistake. And that's what, unfortunately, social media does right now, right? A mistake does, collapse everything. And this is not right. That's why ni'mah from Allah for a sheikh is to have good, sincere, protective students. When the ni'mah of Allah to have someone to teach you, it's a ni'mah of Allah to give me students who appreciate and who protect, my shortcomings, right? And who are supporting me when I'm weak and who are helping me when I'm strong. It's like family. You have a family member who have some problem. We all come as a family to get them out of that problem. If they are good, we're all supporting them to be better. Same thing with your sheikh and your teacher as well. Unless, subhanAllah, it is some morality issue, big one, if something bad, this is another handling, and you leave that handled by other sheikhs, by other people. But you, as I said, consider yourself as the gate between the sheikh and the other people. Whatever you want to be known about your sheikh, it will be known through you. All right. If you wanted to go to another sheikh, talk to your mentor sheikh. So that tells us everyone have to have a mentor sheikh. It doesn't have to be a certain person, but can be someone overseas, someone there that you trust or you grew up with, right? And ask them about, what do I learn? There is a sheikh such and such. Do you know them? There is a book, this sheikh. Can I read it? Like that. And that develops this attachment that you are seeking the knowledge through trustworthy sources. Right? You can go any library. But if you ask me, I'll tell you which book. Like I give you specific books now to save you the effort of being lost among books. So before you go to another sheikh, ask your mentor or sheikh. Before you read a book, ask your sheikh. He will give you a short list of the things that you can achieve, inshallah, Rabbul Alameen. And he said, be careful of over-venerating the sheikh. I want to finish with that one. See, we said respect and all that, but he's not a god, and he's not a prophet. Like people, they will kiss the feet of the sheikh or the hand of the sheikh, it's important to know. Come on, women and men, this is a different rule, right? But we men, for example, whenever I meet my sheikh, I want to kiss his hand, because I know it's not going to get into his heart. He's old enough, wise enough, pious enough. He will understand. And he will actually remove his hand. He doesn't want me to. But sometimes I'll insist in kissing his hand or kissing his head. It's more of appreciation. It's out of love. Okay? It's out of love. It is not out of anything else. But if I know that my sheikh is like young, or he is not there yet, I will just have a line, of respect only. So it's very important. So some people in some extreme sects, they will kiss the feet of people. They will kiss the hands. They will go, extreme. They will go extreme in taking barakah from the sheikh, and all of these kind of things. But we are not like that, right? So don't over-exaggerate things, and don't underestimate the sheikh. So be in the middle line, like you are respecting someone elder in your family, like you are respecting your father or your mother. So just have that as a line. Yes. طيب. Remember that your capital is from your sheikh. So you lose your capital, you lose your trade. You invest. You have $100, you are investing. This $100 is your sheikh. I'm not saying the sheikh equals $100, but I'm saying that the investment itself. Profit comes or goes, but the investment is there. You lose your investment, you lost. Okay? So whatever you're going to achieve, the profit is the knowledge. And that knowledge is your relationship with your sheikh. So remember that. We used, when we were young, out of foolish teenage thing, we imitate our teacher. Teacher is not in the class, we imitate them and all that. That's not adab with the teacher. We don't imitate the teacher. We don't live as if he is, speaking and stuff like that. No. Don't imitate the sheikh walking and stuff like that. When you talk about him in his absence, you have to talk with respect, as if they are present. Because that is about you, not only about them. How you present your sheikh, remember? How you present him is very important. Even when you are mad at them, even when you are not happy. That's a long relationship. Sheikh became respected because of those who respect. So if you respect someone, you're going to be respected as well. Because your children and the younger people see how you respect your sheikh, they will respect you when you are in that position as well. طيب, we'll stop here inshallah. And we will continue with number 20 next time. Number 20. نشاط الشيخ في درسه. The sheikh's enthusiasm in his lessons. So we'll continue that inshallah Rabbil Alameen. And we will talk about benefiting from sheikhs who have some bid'ah or some problem with their belief or their aqidah, but they are good and adept in a certain topic or subject. That also, as a student of knowledge, you have to classify, and we have to understand that it does not prevent us from seeking the knowledge from someone, even they have a problem with another branch of knowledge. So they have issues in a certain, but they are good in the tafsir, or they are good in the linguistics, Arabic linguistics. So you have to have that filter. When you're going there, you are going to learn Arabic linguistics only. You're not going to take anything else. But it does not mean I abandon that. The whole idea is that I get this thing, and now I'm giving it clean. So I'm not going to abandon it and I get something impure. Because what are you going to sacrifice here? All right, so we have to know these things. Jazakumullah khair. We'll stop here today, inshallah. We have a janazah prayer, so people will start coming. And we'll continue next week, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen. Thank you so much for listening. Alhamdulillah.